Welcome to the Bedtime Scientist. Tonight, we're going far out into space to discover a planet that doesn't have a surface. Out to the biggest planet of them all, Jupiter. Jupiter is enormous, so large that more than 1,000 Earths could fit inside it. If the Earth were the size of a single grape, Jupiter would be the size of a basketball. Earth is a world of rock, mountains, valleys, ocean floors. A solid ball with a thin coat of air wrapped around the outside. When you look up at our sky, you're looking at that coat. It only goes up about 60 miles. Compared to the whole Earth, it's about as thin as the skin on an apple. Jupiter is the opposite. Clouds above clouds. And beneath the last of the clouds, more sky, going down for thousands of miles. There aren't any mountains or valleys or ocean floor. The sky isn't a coat on Jupiter. The sky is the planet. Jupiter wasn't built that way. It grew that way. Long before there were planets, the young sun was circled by a massive cloud of gas and dust. Bits of dust bumped into other bits and stuck together. The clumps grew, and the bigger a clump got, the more it could pull in. Near the sun it was warm, and only rock and metal lasted there. Farther out, it was cold enough for ice, and there was far more of it to gather. So out where Jupiter was forming, there was more to grab. Jupiter grew large first, and once it was large enough, it began pulling in the gas around it. Not rock, gas, hydrogen, drifting in the dark, left over from the making of the sun. Earth was too small to hold much of it. What Earth kept was the thin coat of air, the little bit of sky we live under. Jupiter kept all of it. And deep down, under all that sky, something strange is waiting. The deeper you go into Jupiter, the harder everything above presses down. And it keeps pressing, mile after mile, until it squeezes that hydrogen, the lightest gas there is, so hard that it stops behaving like a gas at all. It starts to flow like liquid metal. It isn't fire. Nothing is burning down there. It just flows, pressed by a weight almost too large to imagine. It's like a shining sea, deep inside a planet made of sky. That's what waits deep inside Jupiter. Not ground, something stranger. But the cloud at the top, those you can see. From space, Jupiter looks painted. Stripes run all the way around it, white and orange, cream and brown, and rust-colored. Those stripes are rivers of cloud. The white bands are clouds of ammonia ice, tiny frozen crystals, high up and cold, catching the sunlight. The darker bands are deeper clouds, lower down, showing through where the white ones thin out, and the stripes are moving. Some race east and some race west, side by side, but in opposite directions. The fastest of these clouds have winds that are stronger than the strongest hurricanes on Earth. And where two of those winds slide past each other, their edges curl. The curls become spirals, and the spirals become storms. And on Jupiter, the storms don't stop. Here on Earth, even the biggest storms run out of time. A hurricane is fed by the warm ocean. It spins and grows, and then it crosses onto land, and the land ends it. There's no ocean left to feed it. The mountains and forests drag against it until the storm falls apart into rain and wind, and then into nothing. On Earth, something always stops a storm: cooler water, drier air, and most of all, the ground. But Jupiter has no ground. There's nothing to break a storm apart, nothing to wear it down. So a storm on Jupiter can keep turning and turning and turning. There's one storm on Jupiter that's been spinning for nearly 200 years, maybe far longer. It's called the Great Red Spot. This huge storm is deep rusty orange, turning in the same direction, in the same band of clouds, year after year. It was already turning before you were born. People have watched it through their telescopes for generation after generation. They watched it turn, and when they looked again, a year later, 10 years later, 100 years later, it was there. It's there right now, turning. A storm older than anyone listening. A storm that has never needed to stop. Jupiter isn't alone out there. Circling around it are moons, dozens and dozens of them. 4 of them are so large that you can see them with a good pair of binoculars. 4 little points of light lined up beside the planet, changing places night after night as they travel around it. One of those moons is covered in ice, with a hidden ocean underneath. One is covered in volcanoes, and one is bigger than the planet Mercury. They circle Jupiter the way the moon circles us, held in place. Because Jupiter holds things. Its gravity, the invisible pull that every planet has, is stronger than any other planet's. It reaches far out into space and bends the path of everything that passes. But nothing Jupiter holds ever lands. There's nowhere to land. The storm can't stop because there's no ground to stop it. The clouds never settle because there's nothing underneath to settle on. Everything on Jupiter has been moving for billions of years, and none of it has ever come to rest. You're lying on something Jupiter doesn't have, the whole planet under you, not going anywhere. Jupiter is 5 times farther from the sun than we are. The sunlight that reaches it is faint, weaker than the light on your face on a winter afternoon. A beam of light leaves the sun, crosses the darkness of space for more than 40 minutes, and finally arrives at those clouds. And still, it lights them. Still, it makes the bands glow amber and cream and the faintest trace of brown. The great red spot is turning in that faint light right now. It was turning when the first person wrote it down. Someone who had never seen an airplane looking up through a telescope at a small orange smudge on a distant planet. And out there, everything keeps moving. The moons keep circling. The stripes keep flowing. The storm keeps turning with no ground to stop it. a planet without a surface. And just before you drift off to dream of a painted planet, a storm older than anyone alive, and a sky that goes all the way down, I want you to know something about you. Your mind is a wonderful thing, so full of curiosity. And I like your mind just the way it wonders. I'll be back again soon to wonder more with you.